Oi, fala aí pessoal, bom dia. Você está escutando
O Inglês no Rádio.
I am your host, Foster Hodge. This is your daily dose of English. Hey, hello, hey guys. Welcome to another episode of Inglês no Rádio. Again, this is a special episode where I am going to rant. Rant is desabafar. I'm going to rant about the way that we teach English in Brazil. And if you have not listened to the last two episodes, I recommend starting with episode 192, which is called Seis Razões por que os brasileiros não falam inglês. And I think it is a good idea to start at the beginning of this series because in this series I am talking about an article called 6 Reasons Why Brazilians Do Not Speak English Properly. So I believe it will make a lot more sense if you start at the beginning and you will not think that I'm just saying bad things about the Brazilian educational system because that is not what I'm trying to do. So, with that said, today we are going to talk about the second point in the article, which is the Portuguese, or Brazilian in this case, accent is mostly inaudible to other countries' people. So, no grammar, please, only proper speaking skills. Okay, so I think the structure of this point is a little confusing. So perhaps a better way to say this is a lot of Brazilians know a lot of English. They have studied for many years, they understand grammar relatively well, they can read and write. But when it comes for the time to have a conversation with the native speaker, everything does not go so well. And honestly, I really agree with this point. This is really one of the most common problems that I see, that I have seen in my almost 10 years of teaching English to Brazilians. So I think it is a very, very important point to talk about. So in the article, the author asks the following questions. How many times have you heard Brazilians complain about not being understood when speaking English in a foreign country, although they are quite knowledgeable in English? Many, many times. This is a reality for Brazilians. Okay, so I almost completely agree with this point. I hear this all the time from my students. You know, things like, I've studied English for years, I studied English at school, I've taken private courses, but native speakers don't understand me when I talk. Or another thing I hear a lot is, I know how to speak English, but I get stuck in conversations. Eu travo. Or I can't understand native speakers in fast conversations. I hear things like this all the time. So I really believe that having effective conversations in English is a super common and important problem for Brazilians. And in the article, the author continues to say, the reason for this is what I call the phonetic issue. Teachers in Brazil are not concentrating on the audible correct pronunciation of their English students, but rather focusing primarily on grammar. To find a teacher that can actually teach correct phonetic speaking skills is very rare. Many good teachers never traveled outside of Brazil. This can be the reason why they fail at it so terribly. Okay, so I have two reactions to this, two completely different things that I want to talk about. In the first place, I really agree with his idea of the phonetic issue. Most Brazilian schools and teachers focus way too much on grammar and not enough on speaking and listening. And for that reason, many Brazilian students can read and write relatively well, but their speaking skills and their listening skills are not as good. I really agree with that. But The second point that I want to make that I think is really, really important is I would not like to make this the fault of the teachers. I'm a very strong proponent, I'm a very strong defender of teachers and education in general. And really, it is not the teacher's fault. Teachers in Brazil have extremely low salaries. They don't have many opportunities to travel outside of Brazil or take private courses on pronunciation and phonetics. So, in general, I would like to defend the teachers and place more of the blame, more of the fault on the educational system in general. So, most teachers are placed within a system where they are required to teach grammar, things like the book is on the table, etc. You know, these kinds of things. And they do not have the resources or the liberty to focus on conversation and pronunciation. But I do think there is a solution to this. I think there are a variety of solutions to this. So, first, give teachers more money. Simple. I really believe that teaching is one of the most important professions in the world. I mean, teachers literally take care of our kids, they take care of our children for a good part of the day, and they teach them how to be good citizens. They deserve a lot of respect, and they probably deserve much more money. I also really believe, I think it should be much easier for foreign teachers like me to find work at English schools in Brazil. So, for example, when I was living in Brazil, I applied for a lot of teaching jobs at traditional private English schools. You know, the Cultura Inglesas, Britannias, Wise Up, these kinds of schools. And not one school was interested in giving me a job. And I think I am relatively qualified to teach English. I hope so. And I understand that it is very difficult to hire a foreign teacher, to contract a foreign teacher, because they have to pay for a work visa. There's a lot of bureaucracy. And technically, that job could go to a Brazilian. But I really do think that having more native speakers, more native teachers teaching in Brazil would be a very good thing. Finally, I think that Brazilian teachers should have access to good and affordable resources about pronunciation and phonetics. For example, in our Sound School 3.0 course, we have a few, I think 4 or 5 Brazilian teachers that are taking the course. So these are Brazilians that teach English in Brazil. And I promise they are definitely some of the most dedicated and motivated and best students that we have ever had. So, next time that we open Sound School to the public, we want more English teachers. So, if you are a teacher listening to this show, just send me an email to hi@inglesnocru.com. So that is hi, arroba inglesnocru.com, and explain a little bit about your situation. And we will make sure, we will guarantee that you have a space in the next Sound School program. And we will also give you an awesome deal. We think it is really important. So I think it is a good idea today to end on a positive note because this is kind of a depressing subject. More money and more free resources for teachers, please. So, guys, I will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, think about some of your favorite teachers and consider sending them an email, just thanking them for their service, maybe talking about how they have had a positive impact in your life. And I'm sure it will make their day so, so much better. Até, já já. Ciao.